Perhaps you think you're just waiting for the right moment. But what you might not have realized yet is that the right moment doesn't come for those who feed on doubt. And the more you feed it, the further you get from your own truth. Because a price is being paid, silently, for that hesitation you've learned to call prudence. Thinking too much isn't always wisdom. Sometimes it's fear well dressed. Fear of feeling. Fear of choosing. Fear of admitting that, deep down, you already know, but still don't have the courage to follow what you know. The mind, with its infinite capacity to justify, has created a sophisticated refuge called waiting. Waiting for the right time. Waiting for total clarity. Waiting for the perfect sign from the universe. But the universe responds to movement. And when you freeze, it falls silent. And in its silence, it gives you back exactly what you've been emitting: stagnation. It's common to confuse doubt with a spiritual process, to believe that being in doubt is being in search. But there's a fine line between the silence of listening and the paralysis of fear. Krishnamurti said that doubt, when used as inquiry, is liberating, but when it becomes a refuge, it imprisons. And it's in this second type of doubt that many find themselves, trapped in a hesitation that seems spiritual, but is, in reality, a fear of living. Sustained doubt is not neutrality. It's a passive choice. And every non-choice is, in reality, already a choice, made by omission. When you don't decide, someone or something decides for you. And that someone could be fear, trauma, old family patterns, or the part of you that learned to survive without living. Alan Watts once wrote, "Anxiety is the result of trying to control the uncontrollable. But every attempt to control is, in itself, a denial of life. While doubt is in command, true life is suspended. You keep breathing, eating, relating, but everything feels a bit lukewarm, a bit gray, a bit postponed." Spirituality isn't a place where you hide from life. It's the field where you learn to be whole in it, even in moments when everything seems uncertain, even at the crossroads of the soul, when there's no longer a map. That's where awakened consciousness shows its maturity, not as someone who has all the answers, but as someone who stops running from them. The doubt that persists is no longer a question. It's a protection. It's a wall that prevents the soul's calling from being obeyed. How many times has your heart shown you the way, but your mind insisted on postponing? How many times have you felt that it's this way, but preferred to wait just a little longer? This difference between knowing and acting is where your life is being drained. While you hesitate, reality is forming, with or without your presence. Time doesn't wait for you to decide. Energy that isn't directed turns into noise. Faith that isn't applied turns into mere talk. Carl Jung warns us, "You are what you do, not what you say you'll do." In the field of spiritual awakening, doubt is one of the most dangerous forms of resistance, because it disguises itself as a search. It dresses itself as caution. It even seems spiritual, but inside, it's pure fear disguised as lucidity. Hesitation, when fed for too long, becomes an emotional addiction. It's like an invisible energetic habit. You get used to the comfort of not acting, and you start to avoid any movement that demands your real presence. Waiting for the ideal moment is one of the most paralyzing illusions on the path, because it never arrives as you imagine. It doesn't come with guarantees. It comes with an invitation. Are you willing to walk even with your heart pounding? Living spirituality is not made of absolute certainties. It's made of conscious steps even amidst the fog. Those who wait for absolute clarity to act end up living a life in draft form, always rehearsing, always preparing the ground, always almost, and almost is a comfortable but sterile place. Nothing flourishes in almost. That's why, often, true spiritual courage isn't about taking a big leap. It's about taking the first step, even while trembling, even insecure, even without knowing how it will all end. Because those who are present don't need to know the end. They just need to be whole in the now. And the now demands decision, presence, coherence between what is felt and what is done. Osho used to say, "The mind hesitates, the heart never hesitates." And it is in the heart that life happens. You've felt it. You already know. Doubt is now just noise. A layer of fog covering a clarity that's already there. And this noise is costly. It costs vital energy. It costs inner time. It costs opportunities for real learning. It costs deep connections that don't manifest because you're still stuck in hesitation. Doubt is a delay disguised as diligence. It's like keeping your foot on the brake even when everything inside you calls for movement. And what happens when you proceed even without knowing how it will be? Life responds, because it is more faithful to your step than to your thought. When you decide with truth, something in the energetic field reorganizes. Doors open, signs appear, the right people approach. But none of this happens while you are sitting on the edge of the choice. You have to launch yourself, not with imprudence, but with faith, with listening, with alignment between what the soul feels and what life asks for. What holds you back today isn't doubt itself. It's the attachment to the idea of control. It's the fear of feeling what once hurt again. It's the desperate attempt to guarantee there will be no mistakes. But making mistakes is also part of the journey. And sometimes, making mistakes consciously is more spiritual than getting it right out of fear. The mind doubts. The soul does not. The soul feels. It recognizes. It vibrates when something is true. But the mind tries to fit everything into logic. And failing to do so, it nullifies the intuitive wisdom that has already manifested. The soul's calling never comes with a manual. It comes with frequency, with sensation, with that presence that imposes itself even when you try to ignore it. And the doubt that resists this call is like a dam preventing a river from flowing. Deep down, the truth has already been felt, but it hasn't been obeyed yet. And that's where the real turning point lies. Not in the revelation, but in the action. Not in the insight, but in the step taken. Not in certainty, but in trust. You can spend your whole life waiting for the yes from outside, but the only yes that transforms is the one you give yourself. Doubt has cost you more than you imagine, and what's at stake is not just a decision. It's your vibrational integrity. It's your presence. It's your ability to live with soul and truth. Today, before sleeping, sit in silence. Breathe calmly. Place one hand over your chest and the other on your belly. Close your eyes not to escape, but to listen, and ask honestly, what truth within me has already been recognized, but still hasn't been followed? What choice am I postponing out of fear of feeling, and not for lack of clarity? Breathe, silence, and allow the answer to come, not as a thought, but as a sensation. Sometimes, a shiver carries more truth than 1,000 rationalizations. I'm done with this topic. If these words have touched something within you, perhaps it's time to say a profound yes to what you've been putting off. Subscribe to the channel to continue this journey with presence and truth. Share in the comments what you've been postponing most out of fear, Your story might be the reflection someone needs to break free from their own doubt. And watch the video we suggest in the card. Perhaps it's your next step. Peace and light.